Hi there, Greg Lewis from WeeRVee, and thanks for joining me today. Today we are in Rockport, Texas, and we're going to talk about tips and tricks to working full-time from your RV. How can you do it? Is it easy? Is it hard? Is it worth it? Would you advise it? Let's talk about that. Okay, like I said, I'm Greg. Kim, today my better half is out shopping around, I think, at a farmer's market. And today is a really blustery, crappy Saturday. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to talk about how I managed to live full-time, how I managed to work full-time from an RV on the road. Now, a lot of people do this. It's no great trick, but I definitely have learned a few things during my 1 year on the road about how this happens. So first, a little bit of history. I work as a marketing director for a small software company out of Utah. And when Kim and I schemed up this whole idea, I had to convince my employer that this would be a good idea. If you do office work or executive work, I guess, or creative work, or things that you can do remotely from home, you can probably do it on the road. And it'll probably work out. And you might be able to convince your employer of that, because in these post-COVID times, they're game for stuff that they didn't used to be game for. So there's that. Now, so far as my tip, it's your, what did I say? Oh, so far my first tip is attitude. You've got to remember that this is not a vacation. It is an adventure. Every day is not your day off. You're not going to run around every day and do your fun things. You have to work 9 to 5, likely, if you're in a full-time job. And it's probably Monday through Friday, if it's a full-time job like mine. So I had to learn very quickly that there might be some marvelous things going on outside, but I still have to work. And I still have to get the job done, and I still have to put in my 8 hours every day. And I'm proud to say I do that. And I think some people can fudge that, but you can't, right? Attitude. Number 2, pace. Oh. Along that same line, if you are working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and moving once a week, that gives you 1 day a week to enjoy this life that you just carved out for yourself. And if you're not doing that, then what are you doing this for? So Kim and I have found in our first year of travels that, and we've said this in other videos, but just slow down. Stay in a place for a few weeks to a month. This is valuable in a couple ways. You get to spend more time to see that place even though you're working. And 2, it's cheaper because the rates at RV parks or wherever you're staying, most parks, goes down the longer you stay there. All right? So that's one thing to consider. Pace. Number 3, connectivity. Now, connectivity is a huge topic, and there's lots of videos about this. I won't even go into what is the best way or how to technically hook things up, or really just to let you know that it is truly important. I think when we sit in our homes or our offices, we forget how much we rely on the internet. So here's what we do. And again, there's multiple ways you can do this, but everyone will tell you you're going to need redundancy. You're going to need a couple ways to access the World Wide Web. And here's how we do it. We use one is our Starlink. Now, Starlink is something you might have heard of. It uses low orbiting satellites to keep this great world connected, and it was taken to a new level by one Mr. Elon Musk, and he made Starlink. And Starlink essentially allows you to use the antenna, and in theory, anywhere you can point that thing up to a clear sky, you're going to get internet. And in my experience so far, it has worked great. And also, Starlink presently is unlimited data. So you don't have to worry about hitting your data cap and getting throttled or cut off, which sucks. Now, but there are a few problems with Starlink. One, like I said, you have to have clear access to the sky. If you don't have clear access to the sky, it doesn't work. So for these reasons, you need redundancy. So Starlink is our go-to guy. My second guy is this. It's a little MiFi device. If you don't know what a MiFi device is, it's basically a telephone inside. And all it does is take the cellular signal and broadcast it to whatever device you have via Bluetooth, or not Bluetooth, actually, it uses Wi-Fi, and lets you have internet wherever you are. Well, wherever you are that has cellular phone access. Now, these things work great, but they have drawbacks in 2 ways. 1, you have to have cell phone access. If you don't have that, you're no good. 2, they typically have a cap. This one from T-Mobile is 100 per month, gigabytes, and it costs about $45, I believe. Then I have another one from Sprint, which I've cut off because I don't need it anymore because I got Starlink, but this had 150 for about $100 a month. That goes by really fast when you're watching TV, and we watch a lot of TV. We like our TV. I'm sorry. And no matter how you try to set your TV to be low consumption, and it's just going to burn through that stuff. So you would do best to have unlimited connectivity. Last thing for connectivity, and I'll move on, is we use our telephone. You probably don't know this, but your telephone can connect to, or maybe you do know this, your telephone can connect to devices via its MiFi setting. Both iPhones and most models of modern phones can do that. So just figure out how to do that, and you can actually hook it to your computer, and your computer can go through your phone to broadcast what it needs to. And I've used this in a pinch, and it usually works really well, as so long as I have a cell signal. So there you go. Thing number 4. Okay, obviously you're going to need tools of your trade. Depending on trade, that just depends on your trade. But primarily, if you're doing a job like I am, you need a laptop, you need some hard drives, you're going to need some head canceling sets with a good mic to do your meetings. By the way, earbuds are great, but this is good because this particular Jabra headset is a professional. I don't even know what this costs. My employer bought it. But it has a microphone. And the great thing about this microphone is it really just picks up your voice. It doesn't pick up the dog and things going on in the background, the very loud air conditioner that typically goes on in RVs, which is another thing to be aware of. Your surroundings are going to be a little noisier than you're accustomed to. Mouse, things like that. Laptop, little place to plug everything in, and of course you're going to need a desk. Now I have this desk particularly for this use. I bought it for this space. What we used to have here was convertible. The area that we are talking about is typical of most RVs, where you've got, this is probably the most typical layout for an RV. It's got the TV over here. It's got a place for you to relax over there. It's got a dinette set over here. And over here, typically we have a couch that's convertible to sleep more people. Now we've taken out this couch. Well, we've also taken out a dinette set for Kim's space, but that's a whole nother video. We've taken this out, and I've installed this little desk, which is really handy. Not only does it fit this space, not only is it lightweight, but it's adjustable, right? So it goes up. So if by the end of the day I'm getting really tired, except when it sticks on things. So by the end of the day, if I'm getting tired, I can stand up. And usually I do that a lot of times in the afternoon after I've just been sitting in this chair. Although this is a pretty good chair, I'll show it to you. The reason I like this chair is it looks good. Kim likes it. It's light colored. It's fabric. It doesn't look like an office chair, but it feels pretty solid. It turns, but it doesn't roll. There's no casters on it because you don't want to be rolling around in your RV. So I highly recommend this chair. I'll put the description in the listing below. I highly recommend this desk. I'll put the description in the listing below. So definitely, you don't need a moving desk, but I highly recommend it. Okay, next thing, space. Space, obviously something you've probably considered. You need to have an area to work in. Now, when you're just a couple of old folks like we are, you just need a little space. But I definitely can tell you from doing this for a year without a dedicated bespoke space for me to work in sucks. I used to sit over at the dinette set and just work in that crappy bench, which killed my back, and on the dinette table, which was problematic for a lot of reasons because it's not a bespoke space. So I'm always having to move my laptop and my other things. And I left all my crap out of my desk to let you know that that's typically what your desk is going to look like. Nobody, in pictures when they show people working, there's just a laptop and a mouse. That's never the case. You're always going to have crap on your desk. Always. So make sure you're giving yourself a proper, dedicated space you can give to working, and you don't have to worry about moving it all out of the way so you can have dinner. That is not fun. Also, it's just more comfortable. And it's nice to just be able to leave it there and just plop yourself down the next morning and you're raring to go. So dedicated space. Another thing, I have to say, if you've got kids, you're going to want a separate space, obviously. A separate room you can work in. What a lot of people do, we don't have a fifth wheel, we just have a regular travel trailer. What a lot of people do is they have a fifth wheel and they use that as a dedicated office. And that would be great if we had a fifth wheel, but we do not. So that is not what we're going to do. But just be here on my own side. So the way this works is Kim can watch TV behind me or work over at her station over here. And I can put on my headset with the noise canceling. And even if with the TV on, I can be in meetings because they can't hear that. It works great, but you have to have a dedicated space. So make sure you plan that into your RVLiving. That's tip number 5, I think it was. And let's see. Oh, power. You, of course, are going to, you may not have thought of this, but you're going to need power. Now, when you're, sorry if I'm telling you things you already know. If you're already in an RV, you understand the concept of AC/DC power. You understand that you're going to need an inverter to plug typical things in, like a laptop or any, really most devices, coffee maker and all that. Many RVs do not have that. Our RV does not have that. We have an inverter just for the fridge. So, which is to say, if we're not plugged into shore power, if we're not at an RV park, if we're somewhere outside, nothing, literally nothing, can be plugged in and work except for the little USB cords, because they can run on the the DC power. So we are the kind of RVers that's not really a problem, because we don't do a lot of boondocking, which is to say dry camping, which is to say camping where you have no hookups. But there are ways around this. One, you could get a whole blown out power system with, you know, lithium batteries and inverters and make your camper super boondocky worthy. But another way, and the way we've done it, is we just get one of these batteries. There's many different batteries like this. This is a Duracell off-brand. I got it at Costco. It costs $500. You're typically going to pay $1 for every watt of battery you buy. So to give you an example, this thing can run my laptop for 10 or 12 hours, no problem. You can run the TV for probably 9 hours. It's been my experience. Your mileage may vary. You can run the fan in our bedroom. So when we just pull up somewhere and we've got nothing we can plug in, the only thing we can run is some of the lights and the heaters. That's it. No air conditioner or nothing. We always know we have this in a pinch to turn on the laptop. It could run my modem. Remember, you have to have a modem when you're running Starlink. You have to have power, all AC power to do that. This can do that. And this can do that. I think I plugged it in once when it was 100. It said it could go for like 10 or 12 hours, because a modem isn't going to take a lot of juice. It's just got regular plugs in it, right? It can't run everything, but you could get bigger ones. These things, this is 500. They go up to like 2,500 now for about that much dollars. But definitely that's a good little device to have. Generally just as a backup and to make sure you're going to be okay. We also have a large generator, gas propane driven generator. It's 4,500 watts. I can plug that into the outside of the camper, and basically we can do anything in here. We could do with shore power. Drawbacks are it's outside. It's kind of loud, even though it's an inverter generator, and it uses, you know, it has a limited runtime. It'll run about 20 hours on one 20-gallon tank of propane. I think it'll run about 24 hours, depending on what you're running in your trailer, right? It can run a little longer on gasoline. So anyway, I think that's it. What about you? Do you have questions about working on the road? Do you have any solutions or tips for working on the road that I haven't even brought up? Do you have any issues, problems, complaints working on the road? I want to hear it. Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great day. Bonus tip! Bring a dog. A dog's the greatest thing, but they're noisy and yappy, but it doesn't matter because bring a dog. Tip number 6, 7, I don't know. Bonus tip.